my sisters, higher we shall go. Moving forward, never backward, by the help of God Almighty.
I am Dame Julie Okah-Donli, OON, a High Chief of Bayelsa State, a Chief in Enugu State as well. I am a lawyer, a politician, a businesswoman, a farmer. I'm into so many things, about the same time. I served as the Director General of NAPTIP from 2017 to 2020. I also was the chairperson, United Nations Voluntary Trust Fund for Victims of Trafficking for 2 tenures. Also, I'm currently the Executive Chairman of Roost Foundation. This is an organization that is focused on issues related to human trafficking, sexual and gender-based violence, as well as irregular migration. I've worked in various organizations, from the Securities and Exchange Commission to UBA trustees. I've worked in various law firms as well. For me, every role I've occupied, I consider important because I can be very diligent, in anything I do. I served as the Lady Captain of IBB International Golf and Country Club from 2024 to 2025, the immediate past Lady Captain of IBB International Golf and Country Club. I'm also a Rotarian. I used to be the president of my club, the Rotary Club of Abuja Aso Golf. Right now, I am an assistant governor, supervising 2 Rotary clubs. So yes, those are part of the activities. I'm also a member of various golf clubs in Nigeria, and I like to dance and listen to music. I'm also a writer. I've written 3 books. There are too many awards, that have been awarded me, if you permit me to use that language again. I remember that while I was the Director General of NAPTIP, a lot of people approached me. They wanted to give me various awards, and I said to them, no, if after a year you find me worthy, to receive the awards, you can come back to me. And of course, they all came back to me, because I don't believe in just going to receive awards because I'm a federal government appointee, because that's what is usually very common. You find out that these award givers, approach federal government appointees, governors' wives, and you need to, if you're giving me an award, you need to tell me why you're giving me an award, and I have to be convinced that I'm worthy of being given an award. Otherwise, I'll reject it. So I've had quite a number of very important awards. We've had from the Guardian newspaper, we've had from Leadership. As a matter of fact, I wrote articles for the Leadership newspaper as well as the Daily Times for about a year. I wrote over 100 articles, yes, at a point in time. So I've received awards even from international organizations. You can see one from UNODC. There are so many of them. I don't know where to start from, because they are all important to me. Humanitarian awards and all of that. They are very important. They are all important. So I don't want to single out a few awards, and because I can't even mention all of them. Even from the Rotary Club where I serve, I've received quite a number of awards. I come from Bayelsa State, and my father was a naval officer while my mom was a businesswoman. Very hardworking, successful businesswoman. I watched my parents. I watched how hardworking my dad was, even as a naval officer. I watched how hardworking my mom was. She would wake up first thing in the morning, get us ready for school, go about her business, and come back in the evening. We didn't lack anything. She made sure we had our breakfast, we had our lunch, we had our dinner. Nothing was missing. And then I said to myself, I want to grow up to be like, and she was extremely successful. So I grew up thinking, I want to be like this woman. A very hardworking woman, very strict. Discipline was in my family. We're also disciplined, very well brought up. I can tell you that right from when I was in primary school and secondary school, I was the first to get to school from the day I started school to the day I graduated. Yes. It was so serious that I didn't even notice. The headmistress noticed it and and she had to create a new office and called it the latecomers prefect. I became the latecomers prefect in the secondary school because she noticed that I was the first to get to school every day. That's how disciplined we were. I was never late to school. It never happened. None of us were late to school, and I grew up with that. I can never be late for an appointment unless something, maybe there's traffic or something just happened suddenly. If I have an appointment, I get there between 30 minutes to 45 minutes. I'm never late. So I had that discipline. I grew up with that, and it really shaped me to be a very hardworking woman. I really do not like to rely on people for anything. I just like to rely on my hard work, and so there's so much that I took away from my upbringing that really did me well, and I'm very grateful to my parents for that. My mom was she dealt with frozen foods. She sold wholesale frozen foods, so she had cold stores everywhere, and she had a lot of fish, chicken, and all of that. So she was a frozen food dealer, and she did so well in that business. I watched my mom grow from starting to sell off like a pickup, and then off trucks, and then off her cold stores. People were coming actually to buy them in their hundreds. That's how big she grew. At the time, my mom had built 2 houses in Lagos. Yeah, and she was you can't believe that my mom died at 43. And at 43, she had built 2 houses. She was a very successful businesswoman, and she was about to start a 3rd house when she died. Yeah, it was that, she was that successful, and she was very young, and then of course my dad was a naval officer, like I said. He was retired, and when he was retired, he continued to do some business here and there, and he took care of us. He provided for us. And you can imagine my mom dying very early, and my dad having to take care of us, bring us up. It was a very difficult task, but my dad did it so well that none of the girls got pregnant, none of the girls dropped out of school, none of the boys dropped out of school. Everyone went ahead, finished school, graduated, and became successful. So it was something that I took a lot from, and I'm really grateful for. I schooled in Lagos. I attended, first of all, it was known as Army Children's School, and later changed to Command Children's School. So I started with the Army Children's School, Yaba, where I had my nursery education, and then moved on to Command Children's School, Ikeja, same school. We were the pioneer students then, Command Children's School, Ikeja, where I had my primary 1 to 6. I then moved on to Girls Secondary Grammar School, also in Lagos. From there, I moved to Ahmadu Bello University. After Ahmadu Bello University, I read law there. Then, of course, I went to the Nigerian Law School in Lagos. At the time, we had only one law school, and it was in Lagos. I had my NYSC also in Lagos. I served in Lagos. And then after several years, we now came back to Abuja, and that's where I've been all along. But for me, Lagos is home, any day, anytime. And I love Lagos. I miss Lagos. I'd always been somebody who believed in human rights, and I do not take it kindly when anyone's right is being abused. I remember as a young girl when I see even mothers spanking their children mercilessly. There's a way you can spank your child, and there's a way you can become very aggressive and abusive. I always took it very badly. I never liked it, so I hated to see children being, brutalized. I hated to even see young boys, youths, being brutalized by the police. I never liked that at all, and things like that got to me really badly. And then I said to myself, one day I'll grow up to defend all of these people. because their rights are being abused. So yeah, I think those were part of the things. I wouldn't say it was because of my uncle or my auntie, or no, I don't think it was any of them that inspired me, but things around me that I saw, inspired me and made me to think, you know what, I should defend the voiceless in future. So when I started working after my NYSC, I joined a law firm called Anthony Bene & Co. I worked with Anthony Bene & Co. I also worked with S.O. Ajayi & Co. Then, of course, I worked with the Securities and Exchange Commission. I was a manager there. From the Securities and Exchange Commission, I moved on to become the legal advisor and company secretary of the Capital Market Institute, which is an affiliation of the Securities and Exchange Commission. I also moved on to UBA Trustees. I was the head of UBA Trustees and the Northern Region. From UBA Trustees, I moved on to Bayelsa State Government, where I served as the executive assistant to Chief Timi Priscilla, who was the governor at the time. I came back to Abuja, continued with my law. I have a law firm called Julie Okah-Donli, legal practitioners. I also have a foundation called Julie Okah-Donli Kidney Foundation, and then I now have the Roost Foundation. So I continued with my work as a lawyer, and I eventually was appointed by President Muhammadu Buhari as the Director General of NAPTIP. I served in NAPTIP for a number of years. Just before I left NAPTIP, I was appointed as the chairperson, Board of Trustees, United Nations Voluntary Trust Fund for Victims of Trafficking. Back to back 2 years, I had a 2-year tenure. And then the third year, because it's a 3-year tenure, you can't be chairperson for more than 2 years. After my first year, I was unanimously voted back again. And then I ended the third year as a floor member. And then after that, I continued with my law work, my foundation with Roost Foundation, farming, and little businesses here and there to keep body and soul together. Oh, there were so many traumatic events or experiences as DJ NAPTIP. I came, in contact with a lot of men and women, boys and girls that had been abused in the worst form possible. Those that were forced into prostitution, boys and girls. Those that were forced into labor without pay, and brutalized, dehumanized, and all of that. I came across girls who were impregnated by people they don't even know, who were raped severally, who were impregnated. I came across those who were brutalized to the extent that they couldn't even walk. They lost the use of their legs. Some of them became paralyzed from the neck down. So I came across horrible situations. I came across children that were kidnapped from various states and put in brothels, young children from as young as 9, kept in brothels to work as sex slaves. I came across so many horrible crimes against humanity you cannot even comprehend. That was so traumatic for me. That was disturbing. And luckily, we're able to break through in some instances where we could seal up brothels like that. We came across fake agencies. They call themselves recruitment agencies, where they lured young boys and girls, deceiving them, with promises of jobs abroad and all of that. We sealed up quite a number of those labor agencies. We arrested quite a number. We got a lot of convictions in courts. We prosecuted a lot of traffickers, male and female traffickers. I came across situations where little babies, little children were raped, little children were also brutalized, hot water on them, hot iron, hot knives, and horrible things like that. Little children, I can tell you. I was really traumatized. My staff were traumatized at the same time, because as a mother, even if you're not a mother, you can't see things like that and be normal. You cannot be normal. I had to go through sessions, of psychotherapy, because it's very important, when you experience such horrendous crimes, against humanity, you have to go through psychosocial support. Otherwise, it will affect you. And luckily for me, I was able to overcome my very traumatic experiences. Everyone is molested, babies, boys and girls. You see, most times a lot of parents make the mistake of looking the other way and just focusing their attention on the girls. And that is why the perpetrators find it very difficult to abuse the boys, because nobody's looking at the boys. And then even if you see the boy child looking so withdrawn and looking scared, you don't understand. In fact, you even bully him and say, oh, don't you know you're a boy? Don't you know you're a man? You must be strong. And they don't even bother to find out what is going on with this boy. So we have a lot of guys that are homosexuals. We have guys that are bisexuals. They sleep with men and women. So now you leave your boy in the care of a man, thinking that, oh, he's with a man, he's safe. And this guy is abusing this boy and threatening him not to tell anyone. So the equal protection you give to the girl child, you must give to the boy child. And you must learn to talk to your children from time to time. Tell them not to have secrets with anyone. No secrets. If anyone comes to tell you, keep it a secret, then you know the person is doing something evil to you. You must tell your parents. So all of this education, sex education, I tell parents, you must teach, as long as your child can speak from 2, 3, you must teach them about sex. Because if you don't, someone else will practice this on them and it may be too late for you. Because you may never know. Some of them will be scared, they will never tell you. Maybe after they've grown up and it starts affecting their life, then they may share and then it may be too late to help them. Anyone at all, boy, girl, man, woman, who has been abused, molested, must learn to speak up. There's nothing to be ashamed about. The shame goes to the perpetrator and not to the victim. You're a victim, so you cannot be ashamed. There's nothing to be ashamed about. It's just like somebody rapes you and then you say you that were raped should be ashamed. Ashamed of what? Of being raped? No. The shame goes to the person that raped you, because he has committed a crime against humanity for which he should be punished. And for parents, when you find out your child has been abused, no matter how long it takes, please report to the authorities. You must get justice for your child. You cannot settle on behalf of your child, because she is the one or he is the one who knows where the shoe pinches. So you cannot settle for someone who was abused, who is the victim. So we should discourage settlements out of court. Take this molester to the courts and get justice for that child. And of course, most importantly, whoever is abused must see a psychotherapist. You must go for psychosocial support. Because if you don't get that support, it will affect you for a long time. A few people are lucky, they grow out of it. But a lot of people are not so lucky. They do not grow out of it. So they must get help. They must get that support. And parents must learn to protect their children. You see, you just talked about a situation where she was abused by the mother's brother or the father's brother. You see, most of the time, these in-laws, uncles, aunties, cousins, those are the people you trust. You can leave your brother in your house with your little daughter and go out and not think anything. No. You don't know who is the perpetrator. You don't know who is the pervert. So you don't do that. You must protect your children from uncles, aunties. And I always tell people, your brothers should not be living in your houses. And if they are visiting you, they visit when everyone is home. It's as simple as that. You don't visit when only the little children are home. So I went to see my nieces or no, you don't do that. Because it's not written on the face. So you have to put those measures in place. You don't need to come out to tell them, oh, don't come to my house when I'm not home. But of course, they will not have access to your house when you're not home. Call me if you want to come. So when I'm home, I'll tell you and you come. So it's as simple as that. And cameras are also very important. You must learn to put cameras everywhere, so that from wherever you are, you're able to know what's going on in your home at any given time. With the house help, with the driver. You see a lot of parents send their children to school alone with the drivers. That's a no-no. Every child that is being taken to school must have a female accompanying them, an adult female, not a child. Because some parents also employ children as their house helps. A child cannot take care of a child, and that child will never protect your children because she can't even protect herself. So it's important that when you're getting a house help, you get a mature person that will take good care of your children for you. So that minimize and always check on them from time to time to make sure. How about the school buses? You have a lot of cases where the school driver is the one carrying little children that can't even speak, driving them to school and back. You don't know what happens between the school and the home. During the PTA meeting, you must tell the headmistress, you have a woman, a mature woman. On no condition should a child be picked to school and back home without an adult female accompanying them. On no condition, no matter what. A lot of parents are so careless. They leave their children with the security man. They don't even pick the children until late at night. 6, 7, 8 when they are closing back from school. There are better arrangements you can do for these children. You can pick them up when they close, keep them in a play group or somewhere that is safe and secure. And then when you close, you take the child back. A lot of parents still do it, trust me. They leave their children in school till 6, 7, 8 at night. Every day. The children are the last to leave school when it is dark, and then they are with the security men who take advantage of them. The laws are there. So these guys that get away with it are not getting away with it for lack of laws. Implementation has always been the problem, and it continues to be the problem. For example, take example of maybe rape, maybe 5 years, you give a rapist, someone who rapes a 2-month-old baby or a 5-year-old girl, you sentence him to 5 years. Come on, that is a slap on the wrist. Judges differ. A judge can give the minimum, another can give the maximum. So it must be uniform. They must come to a conclusion and say, hey, look here, when it comes to rape, when it comes to trafficking, when it comes to this murder, this is the minimum you can give to any of these people. 25 years to life. It has to be strict compliance with it, because every judge comes with his or her own punishment, which is wrong. And then you find out that this perpetrator is walking with murder, so to speak. Yeah, so I think those are one of the things that we can do to ensure that anybody who's caught, doing things like this or in crimes like this, don't get off lightly. So in my capacity as Director General, yes, we rescued thousands of girls from all over the world. We rescued girls and boys from Libya, from Ghana, from all, you just name it, from so many countries. We brought them back from Dubai, you just name it. We brought them back from various countries. From Mali, I personally led the delegation to Mali, where we had girls that were working in the mines as forced prostitutes. Very little girls from as young as 16, 15, they were there. Some of them were actually kidnapped from school. They landed there in their school uniforms, and then they just put them to work according to the madams. So they had like 10, 15 men every day, rape them, and then I will not even use the word sleep with them, rape them, and then the monies are taken by the madams. So we had cases like that, of girls that were rescued, and we're working closely with an NGO in Mali. And after my visit, the NGO helped us to start bringing some of them back. Well, we came back with one particular girl who was already very heavy at the time, So there's too many cases you can think of. And then we have a shelter in NAPTIP that is made up of professional counselors, trained counselors that counsel these girls and boys, when they come back. And then we give them educational support. Some of them go to formal school. Some of them learn various technical skills and all of that. And then we now reunite them back with their families. So it's a total rehabilitation cycle, from rescuing them, from rehabilitating them and then reuniting them back with their various families. Julie Okah-Donli Kidney Foundation started as a result of my experience as a young girl when my mom had the kidney failure. So my mom was very sick, for a number of years. And at the time, the kidney disease, was not this technology was not this developed. So she had to go to India to have a kidney transplant, and it failed. So after a few days, her body rejected the kidney. So we had to come back to she had to come back to Nigeria with her own dialysis machine, which she brought back, and then she was having dialysis 3 times a week in the house. Complications here and there, until she finally gave up. Kidney disease is very expensive. The truth is that if God hadn't given us the money, she wouldn't have survived 6 months. Very extremely expensive disease at the time until now. And so, like I said, technology was not this advanced. Now we have anti-rejection drugs. So when you have a transplant, you start taking the anti-rejection drugs and until you become fine. But then it was a 50-50 thing. Before she had the kidney transplant, the doctor had said it's 50-50, and we said let's do it. Chances of rejection is low if it comes from a close family member. My brother donated his kidney at the time, so the chances were slim. Unfortunately, her body rejected it, so went back to square one with the dialysis. And so I thought to myself, you know what, Julie, you saw what this woman went through, and it was traumatic because I was just 18 when my mom died. And I said, okay, I can start raising awareness and sensitization on this disease, because the truth is, it is cheaper to prevent the disease than to cure the disease. A lot of people have died from dialysis and from kidney disease, not from the sickness itself, but from the fact that they cannot afford to pay for dialysis, and they cannot even afford to pay for transplant because it's a very expensive disease. And so a lot of people that once they come up with this kidney failure, kidney disease, chronic kidney disease, CKD, as they call it, most of them are likely to die because they can't afford the treatment. So that was what informed my decision to start this kidney foundation, so I can enlighten people and tell them, drink a lot of water, don't hold your urine, don't smoke, don't take alcohol, and things like that, just to make sure that your kidneys are healthy. Go for every yearly checkups, and all of that. These little things seem so little, but they are very important. So that was how we started. And once in a while, when I'm able to afford it, I give free dialysis sessions. I pay for free dialysis sessions for some indigent patients, so that was what informed it. Then of course the Roost Foundation is a place of rest. Roost, when they say the chickens have gone home to roost. I started this foundation because at the back of my mind I'm thinking, when the time comes, I'll set up a shelter as well, because we don't have enough shelters in Nigeria where we can house victims of abuse, various forms of abuse, violence, human trafficking, and so on and so forth. In the interim, this is like a continuation of my work in NAPTIP. I was very passionate about my job, and I still am, because a lot of cases, reports come to me. As soon as they come to me, I pass them on to NAPTIP, and other NGOs and international organizations that I work with. Very passionate about the fight against human trafficking, a fight against gender-based violence and irregular migration. And so I just continued from where I stopped. I left NAPTIP 2020, January 2021, I'd already started this foundation. And since then, we just moved on and on and on, to protect our youths, our women, our men from all forms of violence relating to human trafficking and all of that, and to also prevent it from happening in the first place through raising awareness and sensitization programs. The Roost Foundation covers everything from education to charity to giving out of food items, everything. It's a charity organization. So right now we are going to start a project called Project Educate to Empower. It's a project that helps indigent children with their school books in JS1, JS2, SS1, SS2. The indigent children in these schools, we're starting one in Imo State, Owerri, in a government school. Our partners, the LNG, Nigerian LNG, partnering with us, sponsoring the project. When we're done with the Imo State one, we'll be coming to another government secondary school here in Abuja, where we'll be giving books to 60 indigent students. In Owerri, we're giving to 40 indigent students. So we have a lot of projects like that we carry out besides trafficking issues, because if you do not educate these children, it can easily lead to trafficking and SGBV issues. Personally, for me, I have too much energy to sit at home and face just one thing. I have too much energy. I'm restless. I cannot. My passion drives me. When I make up my mind, I can sit down here today and plan that on the 10th of February, I'll be traveling abroad. And that 10th will come and I'll travel abroad. That's the kind of person I am. I'm a very focused person and I plan. So when I make up my mind that this is what I want, I can tell you that I was pregnant when I was in Nigerian law school. I wrote my exams, I passed my exams, I had my child. And I just finished my master's now with all of this that is happening, and I'm about to start my PhD. So I multitask. I can do 10 things at the same time. It's all about focus. It's all about determination and hard work. So when you're focused, you're determined and you work hard, there's nothing you cannot achieve. You can do it simultaneously and achieve your target. I always set a target for myself and I don't rest until I achieve it. For me, being prudent, I'll use myself as an example, is being diligent in all your ways. Diligent in your work, diligent with people around you, being focused, being ambitious, hardworking, and determined. For me, that makes me a prudent woman. Determined. I'm a very determined woman. When I make up my mind on something, there's no going back. I make sure that I hit it and I get it. The young girl has to know that this woman you're reading about is focused. She's determined, she's hardworking. And with focus, determination, hard work, the sky is your limit. So you keep your eyes on the ball at all times. Don't take your eyes off the ball. Because when you take your eyes off the ball, then of course, you miss the target. Keep your eyes on the ball.
We are one big happy family.